welcome everybody, welcome to the new season of Hurdy Gurdy Cafe Podcast. But where is Ryan? We have Noelle with us. What happened with Ryan?
He's buried in my backyard now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we are here today with our guest, Sebastian Falke. Falk? Is it Falk?
Hello.
Yes.
It's Falk.
Falk.
Indeed.
Fantastic.
And, which means falcon.
Amazing. That's a fancy name.
There you go.
Okay.
So you didn't want to become a pilot. You decided hurdy-gurdy was the way to go. That's like instead of...
Yeah, after a while, I felt that flying, not really my thing.
No.
Okay, so let's start, guys.
Yeah, great. Welcome to the show. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So Sebastian, one of the things I'd like to talk about today is the fact that, you know, as a hurdy-gurdy player, you went to Conservatory and also have a cat in the background.
Yeah. He's there.
Yeah. So, you know, in your experience, is there a difference between, you know, when you went to Conservatory and learning there versus methods you've seen in France, in Spain, in England? You know, are there different techniques? Can you talk a little bit about that so that we can get a feel for that?
Sure. I mean, the Conservatory I'm currently studying at still, actually, it's my last semester, is the Academy of Music and Drama in Gothenburg in Sweden. And the program I'm in is, was called World Music, but has now changed to the name Contemporary Traditional Music, which I really much prefer.
That's much better, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot nicer. And, you know, World Music, debated name overall, so let's not open that much.
Absolutely, it's a good melon to open, I have to say, but I agree. It's maybe not the most fortunate name for the style. The style is beautiful, but the name, you know,
well, no.
A bit shady, no?
Yeah. So in our program, we basically have different teachers who has different traditions, you could say. So there are some teachers who have Swedish traditional folk music. There is Arabic, Turkish, or as he himself says, Oriental traditional and classical music, Bulgarian traditional music and such. So it's sort of like a mix of traditions rather than mixing them together in one sort of style, basing so we get to try different traditions. And it is very much.
And how are the lessons? Like, do you have a hurdy-gurdy teacher, like instrument teacher, or do you go to classes with masters of other instruments to try to import their style to your instrument? How does it work?
A bit of both, actually. I mean, the main part of the education of the program is a lot of ensemble lessons with different teachers from different traditions, as I mentioned, where we just play the music together, but then you have your main instrument teacher as well. And both during my time in the Conservatory and in these folkhögskola, like folk high schools, I guess community college you could call them, I've had a mix of both. So right now I have a teacher who plays the fiddle, Mia Marin, and she plays Swedish folk music, which is kind of my main focus and has been for, well, basically since I started playing the gurdy. And I've had her half of the time, and the other half I've had Johannes Gevorkian Hellman, who's been my teacher for a while.
Amazing player. We had him in the podcast, actually. Yes. You guys can go watch it. Yes.
Go check it.
How many other gurdy players are there in your class or in the Conservatory now?
It's just me, actually.
Of course.
Of course.
So whenever there's a solo, it's basically, that's it. It's you.
I mean, yeah,
potentially
or
yes,
some other weird instrument. Yeah, potentially. No, we kind of mix it up a bit. But I'm the only one who has been studying the world music program with hurdy-gurdy as a main instrument in Gothenburg. Then we have Stockholm, the Conservatory in Stockholm. They have had a couple, Johannes being one of them, who's been studying the Swedish folk music program there. But I'm the first one in Gothenburg, I believe.
That's amazing. And once you get your degree and you're leaving the Conservatory, what are some of your plans that you want to be able to do in the next 5-10 years?
The big question. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I like to have some sort of basic job for a while. Just do something different, part-time, basically. And then I would just like to go out and play, do workshops, and basically all that kind of girdy stuff.
Amazing.
I compose some music as well in different styles, so I'll probably be working a bit with that as well, I guess.
I am very interested in how was the process for you to get into conservatory, because in my experience, well, I am involved in the early music world. Well, now I'm playing a lot of Renaissance music, but I also started playing Baroque, and I am around a lot of conservatoires lately. Right now I am living in The Hague, which has a very, very, very big department of early music, but they wouldn't allow me, basically, because of course there is this horror stories, no, of our instrument being like third class or fifth class, no?
Yes.
So how was your experience? You go there, you say, hello, I am a hurdy-gurdy player, I want to study a bachelor. Can I get in? And they say yes, or how is that?
Well, basically, in a way, yes. When it comes to the contemporary tradition program or the world music, it's basically you can apply, I think, with basically any instrument. And then you might have to adapt depending on what teachers they have. Or what teachers they can find. So I'm really lucky that I'm able to have... Sorry, there's someone blowing fireworks out here.
Nice!
What they're celebrating. But
Chinese New Year is coming, outside, I guess.
So what was your audition like? Because when I had to audition for Conservatory, we had like 3 days of testing, and everybody was, it was basically the same types of testing to kind of flatten out, who was going to be able to get in. So what did you do for your audition, and how did you feel about that?
Well, I had the weird situation where I applied during the pandemic as well.
Oh my! So
it was completely different compared to everything else they've ever done. But usually, I think the applications are actually happening right now, or yesterday. They finished for next year. But what they usually do is you go there and you do some tests, like you mentioned. You play some solo stuff, and there's an interview, and then you get to play with an ensemble, unprepared. And, playing by ear and playing by sheet music, a vista and such. But when I applied, we just sent videos. So
because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right.
So just record 2 or 3 solo tunes, I can't really remember. And then you send them to the different schools. And we got some audio files that there was some rhythm tests that we were supposed to clap with and show that our level of rhythmic.
Do you remember what you did for your solo tunes?
I do. I played, I think one of them is actually on my YouTube channel, the Polska efter systrarna Forströmsson.
That's a jam. That's an amazing Polska.
That one's a great one. Yeah, it's a great tune.
It is.
And it's interesting, your hand technique on the crank is interesting as well, because the way that it looks for dynamics.
What else did you play?
Sorry?
What else did you play for the entrance in the conservatory?
I'm trying to remember. I think I played a Norwegian tune as well, which is called Tussgubben, which is a pretty little slow Norwegian tune, I believe. And then I played a duo tune with a friend of mine who plays the siton, or the Nordic mandola, you could call it.
Amazing.
And we played another Polska.
Okay, and you say that you are specializing in the Scandinavian repertoire or in the traditional music of Sweden. Can you talk a little bit about the traditional music of Sweden for those of our listeners that they don't know or they want to start? I don't have enough words to say how beautiful is the traditional music, especially from Sweden. So please tell us a little bit about it.
I could try to do a quick run. Well, basically, the traditional music in Sweden is mostly dance music. So different type of dance tunes. One of the most known ones is Polska, which actually means Polish, which tells us that a lot of the traditional Swedish music isn't actually Swedish at all from the beginning. So it's basically different musicians finding different types of traditional music and other types of music, and bringing them back to Sweden, working it around a bit, and making new tunes out of it. And bang.
Chinese New Year.
What else should I say? Well, a lot of different dance types, and there's a lot of a common way to go about it. Playing the traditional music is you learn from when you're really young, like you grab a fiddle when you're 2 or something, and then maybe you learn a specific type of traditional music from a specific region in Sweden,
of course,
or from a specific musician that's been very important historically or such. Or you
I was going to ask you about that, if the oral tradition is really strong in Scandinavian music, you know. Yes. Yeah, so like for I know, I love, so for you, you know, like with reading music and all that, you know, like did that come immediately, or, you know, did you learn an instrument before the hurdy-gurdy, or, you know, like did you have music education before that, or describe a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I'm one of those who hasn't really started in a tradition, like you said, or like I explained. Rather, I have had music education before, like in, I guess, high school and before that, and I played rock music mainly.
Okay.
My first main instrument was the drums.
You came to traditional music after all that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I played the guitar quite a lot in different projects, different music styles. And then I think it's like 7 years ago, I sort of found the hurdy-gurdy again, because I've known about the instrument since I was younger.
Tell us the beginning. What is the first? This is the most beautiful story of everybody. Like, what is the first time that you see a hurdy-gurdy and you go like, "Whoa, I want to play this"? Like, what is that moment? Isn't it amazing? Like, how?
Sure, I agree. Well, me and my family has been going to these, you know, medieval festivals, or like medieval fairs, I guess you could call them, here in Sweden since me and my siblings were really young. I think I was 6 or 7 the first time I went to one. And, you know, there's a lot of bands playing medieval music and such. And so I've seen the hurdy-gurdy and I've heard the hurdy-gurdy for quite a while. So I can't really say that was the moment when I heard it the first time. However, maybe, as I said, 6-7 years ago, I sort of saw it pop up different medias, like TV shows, games and such, just noticed it again and just, oh yeah, that's an instrument. And at the same time, I found the beauty of the Swedish traditional folk music and started getting into that. So I was like, nickelharpa.
Oh.
That's nice, but...
What drove you to the dark side? No, exactly. Afterwards, remind me to explain a little story with the nickelharpa. But why? Sure. No, like the nickelharpa catches your eye, and then you go like sidetracked to the gurdy. Yep. How?
Exactly. Well, as I mentioned, I've started seeing the gurdy pop up on different medias and such. So I started doing some research, and then I think I fell in love with or I should say, at first, I really liked the rustic sound, you know, of a medieval gurdy or the grodalira, as we mentioned. But then I found the modern instruments, the tenor models.
Oh my!
And was blown away. You know, I think I saw a video of Johannes playing, where he used the different drones and switched the capos, and when he was singing, and I was like, whoa, what is this incredible thing? And I think that was basically when I thought I gotta try this.
How cool is that? And you end up studying with the first person that that inspired you to play the gurdy, right? How cool is that?
Yes, it's amazing, and that's one of the things I just love. Another thing I love about the gurdy is the community, obviously.
Of course.
And I know we can talk about ages about that, but you know, giving and taking. I've had a lot of help from different gurdy players, Johannes being one of them. Christian Målevisen, which I studied with as well.
Amazing.
He's amazing. He's one of my first teachers, you could say. He's the best. And people have just been helping out, and I try to give back to that as well. So that was one of the big parts I really fell in love with.
About the community. Like, could you imagine like being a guitar player, and then I don't know, Eric Clapton is telling you, oh yeah, get that kind of strings, or Steve Vai comes and your hand maybe put it like this. This is what happens in the community, no? Like we have like all of these crazy super stars, like amazing musicians that are very close to us, and we can get involved into their projects, ask, and we essentially we end up becoming friends, no, with all of these amazing professionals. How crazy is that? Like,
it is crazy. And the funny thing I would say about that is that it's kind of the same in Swedish traditional folk music as well. Yeah, you know, the big stars are also the teachers for the kids during the summer courses and such. Nice. So it's amazing as well. So yeah, I'd say the sense of community is something that I'm quite drawn to, both in the Hurdy Gurdy community and the Swedish folk music tradition. Absolutely.
That's very cool. Do you? I am curious now. In the Swedish folk traditional folk settings, do you feel like welcomed when you go to a session with your gurdy, or they go like, what the fuck? That's not a violin. That's like, you are an outsider. How is it? Like, how do people see you? No.
Is there a traditional Swedish hurdy-gurdy?
There are a few models, a few instruments that are historical, but as for the traditional music, there aren't that many tunes or that many recordings of traditional music on the gurdy here in Sweden. So when I come to a session, like on most places, it's, oh, well, what is that? Or some people, I'd say most people in the Swedish folk music scene do know what a gurdy is, especially with stars like Johannes and such.
No, of course.
So it's not oh my god, what the crap is that? But no, I feel very welcome. I do.
That's very nice.
Of course, it could be tricky to fit in, and it's surprising how easy it is for a gurdy to get shadowed by 20 violins. Just
yeah,
I can't hear myself.
Oh my, you're like playing, like imagining, no, what is sounding. That's very cool. So before I forget, guys, I will tell you my story with the nickelharpa. Because I confess that the nickelharpa catch my eye too. And before starting to play the hurdy-gurdy, I was like, whoa, I would really like to play nickelharpa. So I saved like, I don't know, 1,300 euros, something like that, when I did know nothing, you know. And then I go like, yes, I am going to reach out to a random luthier. I did know nothing, for real, nothing. And it turns out I reached out the Weichselbaumer of nickelharpas.
Really?
Without,
who was it?
I don't know. Somebody told me. So it turns out that
I was going to ask if you gears played the nickelharpa, but that's okay.
Oh Lord.
What is that?
I said I was going to ask if you gears.
Yes, of course, of course. And so I saved like a little bit of money. I thought, okay, let's ask this guy maybe for a student instrument. I'm like, hey, hello, very shy, you know, like, you know, I would really like to start playing nickelharpa, and I saved 1,300 euros. Maybe you have a student model, like a very big email, no? I was like trying to be humble and like, you know, I don't know, but I would really like to. He replies this very, very simple message. Okay, dot. Then I go like, what's going on? But I send another email, no? Like, but do you make student nickelharpas or something? And he replies, good luck, dot.
Wow.
Oh no.
And then I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm like, no. So if I wrote to another person, maybe I would be playing nickelharpa today. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, same. And I usually say if I would get a nickelharpa today, I mean, there is a risk I would stop playing the Gurdy.
Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
luthiers out there, please don't sell nickelharpas to Sebastian Falke. Thank you.
You have been warned.
Exactly. Very nice.
Yeah.
So where you're at, are there any schools for children that do like group lessons in Gurdy and folk music, or is it something that's still not found? Or, you know, like, because I always wonder about the feeder system in each country to be able to educate, you know, younger players so that we can still have people playing this instrument, you know, 10, 20 years from now. So can you describe a little bit about how it is in Sweden?
Sure, I'll try. As for groups of Gurdy people, there are basically none that I know of, especially not for younger children, not in Sweden.
Interesting.
There's stuff happening, I guess, and we're gathering some few people together and playing some time, but it's not really an educational thing yet, I'd have to say. In Denmark, though, maybe you've talked about that with someone, you know, the Drone Music Forum, I believe it's called. They ordered a couple, I think it was like 6 or 7 nerdy Gurdys.
Amazing. That project was very cool.
It was amazing. It was so good. And they use them as student instruments for children, I believe, which they have on loan or something like that. And I mean, I would love to have something like that here in Sweden.
Yeah.
Because folk music courses for children, there's a ton of in different parts of Sweden. That's happening a lot. And like summer camps and such.
Right. And a lot on fiddle.
Yes. But not only fiddle. A lot of different, a mix of instruments. But nothing for Gurdy that I know of.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting.
This is great. And we as Hurdy Gurdy players, we have to try, you know, to get the kids into the game, and because if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it. For example, my partner has a music school next to Barcelona, and we are also trying to. Well, now I am living in the Netherlands, but once we go back in summer this year, we are going to start a project to involve children with early music. Okay, so we bought a very big harpsichord, small baroque flutes, you know, small viola da gamba, and one of the things is putting together like some nerdy Gurdys also to you know to make them play. And I think Noelle has also like a project with kids, and I think also that we have like interesting news for the Hurdy Gurdy community, but we can talk about it later. So can you talk a little bit about your project, Noelle?
Yeah, so in the United States, there's really not a lot of knowledge or interest about the Hurdy Gurdy. And it's one of these things, I think it's similar in many other countries where it's seen as like a novelty instrument or a prop, and it really isn't, you know. And so what I've been doing is working with children in the public school system to do group lessons with them on the Hurdy Gurdy. And it's amazing because first of all, when you bring the instrument in, you know, there's the whole fun factor of it. Like, you know, what does this do? Blah, blah, blah. But the kids are so great because you'll have like immediately they're like, what does this do? What can we do with this? And they pick it up and they can just play it, you know. And it's interesting to me. It's very similar to like how, you know, the difference between how adults and children, you know, approach music. And it's like with kids, they just want to be able to discover it and make a noise and do something interesting. And it's such a good instrument for that. And as soon as you do that, then the kids are like, I want to play this thing. And that's, you know, that's the step. It's like, get them to just get their hands on it so that they can play it. And, you know, then we'll get them playing. So that's basically what I'm doing, is just kind of organizing little workshops for them right now. And then eventually we're going to have a little kitty gurdy camp. So we'll see.
How cool is that? How cool is that?
That's amazing.
Some years ago, before Nerdy Gurdy, this was very difficult, right? Because the access to the instruments was like, wow, like super expensive, and you had to order from luthiers and that. And since Nerdy Gurdy started, like things are much easier for adults. But with the permission of Jaap Brand, and Sebastian doesn't know this, let us present you, Noelle.
Yeah. So, Jaap, who does the Nerdy Gurdy, he's created a new model specifically for small children. And it's called the petite linotte.
Petite linotte, welcome.
Super tiny.
It doesn't look tiny on you.
No, it doesn't, because I'm really small. But I'm like the size of a 12-year-old. So this is perfect for me. But I have like several, I have a couple of 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and 5-year-old students. And starting next week, we're going to test it on them and give Jaap some feedback. But it is a great little model. It's got 2 melody strings, 1 drone, 1 trumpet, and I haven't tuned it up or anything, but it sounds pretty. Hold on, let me put my camera down.
That's a powerful trumpet. Oh my!
Yeah, it's pretty. It's not bad. It's just really tiny. So I don't know.
Look at that. What do you think, Sebastian? Like, this is...
I love it.
So small.
This was a great idea, right? Like, it's amazing. I think, like, some people already also got, like, some goodies for their kids. Like, they painted them, like, in green or in yellow and with flames and with... so the design of the instrument really catch the attention of the kids. And now with this, oh my God, like, in every country, please, if you have an association or if you are a teacher in the public school system or if you have a music school, what are you doing? Buy this. Buy a couple of these, put it in your institution, and let's do it. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it's like it's so light, and it's so ergonomic. You know, it's not like some of the plain kit nerdy gurdies and stuff. It's a really good instrument. But we're gonna do some videos with some of the school children. And get their feedback and stuff. It's been really great so far, taking some of the instruments into class, and so it's really cool. Nice little. That's cool.
Nice. So now...
Is this a sponsored video or no?
It's not actually. But Jaap.
Yeah.
Pay us. No. No.
I'm definitely getting a nerdy someday though. I have plans for that, and using it as a lend out instrument.
Also, Sebastian, you saw that he spoiled the tenor. Also, the new tenor. This is not a sponsored podcast by Nerdy Gurdy.
I know, right?
I know it sounds like an ad. It's not. It's just that we are excited because it's the real revolution of Hurdy Gurdy. Like, right? Like working instruments for less than what? Less than 800 euros. Oh my! So
that's 800 euros for that.
It's quite amazing. And now with the new tenor model, like it will be nice. Like people having access to tenor models if they don't have it, like 7 extra keys and with the open string in C and all of that. That's quite amazing. So looking forward to see how the petite linotte goes. And I hope we can do like a lot of projects involving children, and in 10 years we double the amount of hurdy-gurdy players in the world, which would be very, very nice.
10 years, really. I'd say like 5 now.
Let's do it in 2. Not for you, not for me.
Okay.
In 2 years, we need to double it.
Let's do it. And I mean, as you said, like starting when they're young, that's great. And as you said, it's a perfect instrument for that.
It's great.
Yeah.
Kids are just like, wow, what is this? It's a spaceship, basically. So why not?
Yeah, it is a spaceship. Because it's like, what is going on here? And it's so interesting from that standpoint, is that you can just see their eyes light up and they're like, wow, it's like looking under the hood of a car. It's just fantastic,
Okay, so I am really interested in knowing the particularities of the Groda Lira that I think you have also a Groda Lira by Leif.
Yes. I do.
And also you play tenor by César Loureiro, which
Exactly.
it's pretty much like one is here and the other one is like there, no? It's like super different instruments. So can you talk a little bit about these differences in sound, or how you I don't know, how is
sure.
the difference?
Well, mainly, if I go back to when I started playing the Gurdy, I had more of a rustic instrument to start with. And that was sort of what I was... Yes, the vrabel. Yes. And I guess that was the sound I was first interested in. The rustic, medieval sound, obviously. And then I discovered the tenor, and immediately I wanted to swap the strings for my vrabel and make it lower tuning and everything, just to grab that, the warm, dynamic sound that the modern instruments have usually. So I went a while, and after a few years, I got my tenor, which is an amazing instrument, and it's dynamic, it's warm, it's loud. It's really loud, and it can be really quiet as well. No, it's an amazing instrument. But then I got a few sort of medieval style gigs, and I realized this spaceship doesn't suit medieval music, or even more traditional Swedish music or older Swedish music. Yeah, exactly. It's too much of a modern sound. So, and also, of course, the Groda Lira being a Swedish traditional instrument, you could say, or historical instrument, I just felt that I have to get one. So I have both aspects, because the Groda Lira is really a rustic instrument, and Leif also told me that, just this is something completely different compared to your tenor, and I'm like, yes, I know. My tenor can't sound like that, so I just have to get one, basically.
Nice.
So it's aggressive, it's sharp, it really cuts through, as loud as the medieval bagpipes or whatever, so it's really suited for those kind of gigs, I'd say.
So outdoors with a lot of noise, no amplification, bagpipes around you, and you go like, nobody can compete with me, no?
And there's dust flying everywhere and gets to the wheel. And a friend of mine who also has a Groda.
Yes.
A friend of mine who also has a Groda Lira, he told me, because I asked him, how do you do with rosin as well? Do you use a block? He's like, no, I just take the liquid rosin and pour it on the wheel while it's spinning.
Oh, shit.
And then he goes, and then he's good.
Wow. Sorry, my camera.
It's crazy.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
But it's a lovely little instrument, and I'm really happy that I got one.
And Leif is
Leif is
retired, no? Now?
Yeah, officially. He does build a few now and then. Well, yeah.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I think you could contact him and ask him, but he's old. He's 80 something, and he told me, well, it'll take a while, and I'm not as fast as I used to be. But I'm like, no worries, no rush.
Wow. And is
He's
he one
very
of the latest builders, no, that are making Grodas?
Yeah, I think so. I think in Sweden he's the only one
What's
that I know
going on
of.
with
They
this?
used-
No.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I believe people are looking around for someone to take over. I believe there are some nickelharpa, the
Yeah. The
older
one
type of
with the
nickelharpa.
little hearts, yes?
Exactly. I think there are a few builders who build them that would be suited to take over, which
Okay, and
would be great.
did he take like any apprentice working with him or not really? Because
I don't know. I don't know actually.
because this is something that I fear a lot in Spain. You know,
Yes.
especially in Catalonia, in the region where I was born, we have Cedo Garcia, who is almost the only one building in Catalonia, no? So, and he's also old. So when he goes, all of these secrets of the craft go with him, no?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
this is so sad. So luthiers out there, please take apprentice. and yeah, because the tradition has to continue, no? And it would be very sad if we lose, no, this Swedish Gurdy model, which is something that happened. I don't know if it happened already or not, but in places like in Czech Republic, where I was living, like last year I was living there, I don't think there is anyone like building traditional Czech niñeras, you know, with the traditional shape and all of that. So it is a little bit like devastating for me to think that the traditional forms, the traditional regional forms, are like dying little by little. Of course, it is very cool to have modern instruments like Ferrari, Lamborghini, all of this. But but what's going on with the traditional forms, no, the regional forms of the instrument, which is a part that makes the Gurdy very, very, very rich, no? So
it's the same thing that happened with folk music at the turn of the last century.
Okay.
You know, when so many folk musicians were dying off and, you know, the traditions weren't being passed down. And so we had composers going around recording, you know, the folk music so that we could still have it. You know, like Bela Bartok, that's all he did was go around and record everything on the countryside. So it's like, if we don't have people passing that information down, we're not going to have it. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's move up to something more fun. Noelle, please.
We're like, God. All right. So, Sebastian, do you have any hobbies outside of music and Gurdy
Any
that
hobbies?
you'd like to tell us about that are legal?
I know one.
Yeah.
I know one.
You know one? Yes.
Yes.
It's almost like you and I, Sergio, are like competitors. No.
No,
but I do. No, I'm kidding with you.
What is all this about?
I do leather crafting is one thing.
He's very good with
so I'm-
leather stuff.
Sorry.
I thought it was something to do with collecting black T-shirts. I wasn't sure.
Oh. I'm sure you're winning there, Sergio. I've tried to switch.
Possibly, yes.
No, but I do some leather crafting. I make like wallets and stuff, like gifts for friends and such. And lately, quite a few, the Y straps for Gurdies as well, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, nice.
What happened with the jewelry also? That was cool, man.
Oh yeah.
You stopped.
You did jewelry?
I did some bracelets, like chainmail and beads and such. For
Glass
a while.
beads and all that? Or did
No,
you
like
work with
what are they called?
gemstone?
Like yeah, not what are they called?
Porcelain?
No,
Sorry.
it's stone. Like
Quartz?
different types of jade and quartz. Yeah, they have
Like
a
I'm on a
specific
game
name.
show. I'm trying to guess.
But yeah, different type of stone material basically.
Cool.
And some chainmail pieces as well.
The chainmail
But,
stuff was very cool. Yeah, so
That's
the
probably
camera
from
keeps
your
dying.
medieval interest, I'm sure.
Exactly, as well as the leather crafting as well. It all started there. It's weird. It's weird.
Amazing.
Yeah. Other hobbies. I used to work as a parkour coach.
What?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
What?
A few years ago. I've done that as well. I've also done fire spinning and arts and fire breathing.
Fire
I
breathing.
can't really stick to one thing. I do tons of things.
Dude, you're your own circus.
That's very cool. Just don't go to
Imagine the Gurdy
nickelharpa,
playing.
okay? Just don't.
No,
Yeah, I know,
go
right?
to nickelharpa. fire breathing with Gurdy is cool enough.
Exactly.
There you go. You could have an assistant that would do nickelharpa on a trapeze. And then
Exactly.
there's the whole dog and pony show right there.
Sure, yeah, I'm up for it. I'll ask someone. Yeah, those are a few. I play video games. What else? A bunch of stuff. I can't really keep to one thing. And in that way, I'm kind of surprised that I kept to the Gurdy playing. Because it has happened quite a few times that I got instruments. Oh, this is cool, and I played it for a while, and then it kind of went away. Yeah. And here I am 6 years later studying at the Conservatory, which is kind of crazy, I think, but fun.
Do you find it fun? Like now you are almost finishing your bachelor's. Yes. So I am interested in going back again to the Conservatory topic. Mm-hmm. How do you see it after 3-4 years? Like, would you recommend it? 3 years. Would you recommend it? Will you do the masters? No.
Well, I mean, I definitely recommend it. Absolutely. If you really want to go at it playing an instrument and doing that for a living, just go. If you're able to. I mean, as we mentioned, or as you mentioned, that it could be a bit tricky to have the Gurdy as a main instrument in different conservatories. But if it's possible, why not do it?
I think Ron is doing it as well. I'm not sure where.
So.
I think he got into somewhere in Germany, Ron Holland. And I know you, and I don't know anybody else.
Oh, really? Christian Målevisen.
Christian, of course. Yeah, I forgot Christian.
Yeah, and before him, Johannes.
And Johannes.
And Göran Hallmarken. You know him?
Göran?
I think he was.
He studied a degree with the Gurdy. I didn't know.
I think so.
Göran, what the fuck? So. Nice.
I might be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong.
Okay, we will ask him. We will ask him. So you would definitely recommend getting into Conservatoire for those of our listeners that really want to get serious with music, and it was a good experience for you.
Absolutely. Sure. There's always stuff happening. Like we recently just moved the school. They're like renovating the old house. Mm-hmm. So now we're at a temporary place, which isn't quite as good, but I still do get a lot out of it. I mean, I have amazing teachers and really nice classmates and such. And I get to do, like, first 2 years, it was mainly developing the technique and the repertoire and the history and everything like that. But now during the last year, it's my examination concert in focus. So that's what I'm working a lot on. And that's basically what I want to do. How do I want to develop my Gurdy playing?
And I bet you're making a lot of connections too.
Absolutely.
So that are going to help you in the future. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that's one of the best things about going to a conservatory is that you just get to meet other musicians that you can network with and play with. And I think that that's really one of the most important things to tell younger players is that, if you really do want to get good at playing and you really do want to be successful, go to school because you'll meet like-minded people there.
Absolutely. And people that have your same mindset, and this is super important. Yeah. I am not studying in the Conservatoire right now because I don't have the type of education that I need to to get into the Conservatoire. So for me, it would be like 3 or 4 years of preparation to get there. But I am I sneak in here in The Hague, and I know everybody. I am playing with everybody in The Hague, and I sneak into lessons sometimes. I made connections with the teachers and the people there. So it's fantastic. It's a great setting, and we as Hurdy Gurdy players, if you guys are serious about it, we have to work into making them, especially the people from the departments of folk music or early music. Sorry, my camera again. Early music departments to see the instruments, be around the instruments, and see that we are nothing nothing third or fifth class. No, we can be as beautiful as a harpsichord, as beautiful as a violin or as a cornetto. What the fuck? You have guys, you have cornetto in the Conservatoire. Cornetto. it's an instrument from hell. Like, why not Gurdis? Crazy.
Now you're mean.
I mean, the piccolo gives me a migraine.
See that?
I mean,
piccolo.
come on.
Yeah, piccolo. They have piccolo.
Come on.
Sebastian is too too good, good person. We are like, yeah, fuck cornetos.
We'll all burn you anyways. It's fine.
Great. So, Sebastian, for those of our listeners that are interested in getting to the world of folk music from Sweden, could you recommend something like for them to listen? It can be Gurdi related or more like traditional, because the tunes are quite suitable for Gurdi most of the times, and they really most of the times they really work straight away. The tonalities are friendly for us. Most of the times, no. Sometimes not.
Mostly.
Sometimes yes, sometimes not. I am curious, like, what would you recommend? We will leave some links in the description for them to check.
I mean, here in Sweden, there's a bunch of courses and something known as spelmansstämmor, which is basically folk music festivals.
Okay.
And there are a bunch of them happening during the summer and during the whole year, basically. But as for starting with it, just listen to the music and see what you appreciate. I mean, as I mentioned, I don't come from the traditional playing. I was quite new to it. I found it via a video game, really.
Okay.
So just listening to tunes, finding them online. There are also quite a few collections. There's a page called folkwiki.se.
Folk Wiki. We are going to put that in the description. Folk Wiki.
Sweet. .se, so a Swedish page, which could be tricky, but you can translate it via Google or something. Okay. But it's basically a big digital collection with tunes, basically traditional tunes from around Sweden.
That's great. So we can start there. Great.
Sure. And then just going to jam sessions, meeting people. I believe that's the way I really learned. And then.
Yeah.
Speaking of going to the conservatory, I also went to the Folkhögskola, or Folk High School, community college, I guess, with a folk music program for 2 years. And there are quite a few of those in Sweden as well, which are great to get into it. I learned like 5 folk tunes when I applied to that. Didn't know anything. And then after that, I got into the conservatory. So that's also a great way, I believe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And besides the folky stuff, I know you really like electronics, and I know you have like quite a huge pedal board, and that you are into this thing, no? With pedals. Can you talk a little bit about this other side of Sebastian Falke?
The other side, maybe the original side, actually.
Oh my, okay.
Maybe because the
guitarist, and that's probably where a lot of it came from. Yeah,
exactly. So I've been playing a genre known as post rock. Maybe you've heard of it, like instrumental rock. You know, I had a band called Sade, when we had 3 guitarists with all big pedal boards, and I was one of them. And we played these long tunes with huge dynamics and crescendos. So that's sort of where I came from before studying folk music. And of course, now the last year is just how can I combine these two? Traditional Swedish folk, newly written, mostly by me, and then combine that with the post-rock. So that's actually my examination concert. It's going to be...
Are you recording that? Tell me that you're recording.
Yes!
Okay, so you are officially invited to come again once you release the album and we listen to some tracks. It would be very cool. Sure. Wow, I'm looking forward to listen to it. Yeah.
Sure. So it's quite experimental, and I've been working a lot with my tenor Gurdy, the sound amplification system, to see how that fits with my old pedals for my guitar, and then just combining that in different ways and seeing what I can do, basically. Any discovery that you are like, yo, this pedal or this small mix board, or the mix board is quite nice, no? That one. Yeah, exactly. I found it's called Elite Acoustics Stomp Mix 4, which is a pedal. It's really good. It's a 4-channel mixer, digital in a pedal form. And I have 4 channels on my Gurdy, 1 for each pickup, so it's great.
It looks like made for Hurdy Gurdy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It works really well, and it helps a lot to, you know, because some guitar pedals just really don't work with Gurdy, especially like some fuzzes and distortion pedals.
Yeah, fuzz box, distortion, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, you know. So it's a bit tricky to find what really works. I have one pedal just right beside me that I've fallen in love with that I can show you if you like.
Please,
Yes, please.
please.
As long as it's not a looping pedal.
It's
Generation loss.
Generation loss. It's basically a tape simulator. So it makes it sound like an old archive recording or something.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
sweet.
I love it. Like a VHS or like a cassette recording. It adds these pops and crackles and the
That's pretty
flutter
cool.
and the wobble. It's amazing. And a lot of the Swedish traditional music is recorded on like old tapes and such. So it's like
So you're
instant,
you're basically
archive.
recreating old recordings. Yeah, that's
sort
pretty
of.
cool. So
the
they're
Gurdy
stuff.
recordings that never existed.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
well.
old, but it's new.
Well, yeah. Today I was, as I told you, Noelle, earlier, I was talking in a conference where they showed an interesting recording from 1902 in wax. How you call it, Noelle? Like the wax.
The roll.
The cylinders.
The cylinders. The wax
cylinder.
cylinders. It was made by a Spanish dude called Perfecto Feijó. Okay, and and it's actually the first recording with Hurdy Gurdy that I know. So if anybody knows earlier recordings of Gurdys from from earlier than 1902, please let me know, because I was like, what? 1902?
That's crazy.
It's more than 100 years ago. Look at that. How crazy is that?
You have to send that to me. I'll
Right.
send that.
I will.
Yeah, because then he could layer it. He could do like a Brian Eno thing and have that stuff
Sebastian, do that.
No,
Do
that'd
that.
be
Just
pretty
like a sampler and put
Yeah.
it, and then do something on top. It would be amazing.
That'd be cool.
Sorry, I have fireworks too. I think it's really Chinese New Year.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm the only
Here.
person without
But
fireworks. I feel left out.
I mean,
go outside.
Noelle, in your area, if you go out, maybe you see a bear. It's
Yeah.
more likely that you see a bear rather than a firework, no?
They are waking up right now. So
Oh, Lord.
they were asleep for a very long time, but they are waking.
Amazing, guys. Okay, so do you have any other questions for Sebastian, Noelle?
I don't. I just, Sebastian, you've been great. If there's anything that
Thank
you
you.
want to add to this and tell us anything special, that would be great.
Well, not really.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of. I've said quite a lot.
It was very fun today.
What's the name of your cat?
Oh,
We want to know who
Oh
your
yeah,
cat is back
that's
there.
Otis.
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 It's technically my fiance's cat, but it's our cat.
But it's
He's very much asleep.
your cat child.
Yes, exactly.
Very
and
nice.
he's a Maine Coon, so he's huge.
Oh my god. Okay, guys. So, it was very, very, very nice to have you in the comeback of Hurdy Gurdy Cafe Podcast. After, I don't know if it has been, 1 or 2 years, no? I don't know if it's one or
really?
2. I have no idea. But, Ryan was so busy, I was so busy, and we decided that this new season, we are going to do it with Noelle as a co-host. And have more and more players coming. We also have a new format for those of you that came that made it till the end of the podcast. We are going to add a new format. It's not going to be only interviews. Do you want to explain it, Noelle? I think you will explain it better than I.
Yeah, we're gonna have Gurdy Weekly News Roundup. Actually, maybe not weekly, but Gurdy News Roundup, where we invite other people in to just kind of talk about interesting news in the Gurdy world that most people might not know, and some may. We don't know, but just to kind of make sure that the community knows what's going on by word of mouth, and maybe some interesting fun facts we don't know.
Exactly, just casually chatting about stuff more than this format of interviewing one person. So we are going to be 4. Yep. And well, we will just chat and talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of Hurdy Gurdy.
And we're going to take some viewer questions too. That's another thing.
Absolutely,
so, like,
I forgot. Yeah, nice. Yeah. We are going to open like a mailbox where you can put your questions or the topics that you would like us to talk about.
Yeah. String goes on which thing?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, guys.
The answer is not Pirelli Crystal. Sorry.
So it was so fun to have you here, Sebastian. Thanks for coming. We will, of course, put all of the info that you told us, like in the description box, like Leif, like the Conservatory, the Bachelors, your music, of course, when it's released, the Falky stuff, webpage, everything will be in the description box. Looking forward to play with you soon, hopefully.
Yes.
And
we have to do that.
And this is the end of the first Hurdy Gurdy Cafe podcast with Noelle. Fantastic.